Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. And today I'm going to try again to show you one of the cards we made at my annual catalog kickoff, which is in June. I know that was a long time ago. However, I just haven't been doing videos for a while for personal reasons. And I thought I'd get back in the swing of things yesterday, and I shot this video twice, and it was a disaster both times. So I went to bed, woke up with a clear head, and here I am again. So I'm going to show you this card here. Now, I had my catalog kickoff virtually because of what the world was going through. And so I couldn't send the people who were at my kickoff, my virtual kickoff, any stamped images. That is against Stampin' Up! Policy for a demonstrator to do that, to include stamped images in a kit that is being sold. So I had to design a card that just used dies. And then obviously there is a little bit of stamping on these two, but the ladies have plenty of stamps, so they were able to fill in that for whatever occasion that they wanted. Without further ado, let me tell you what I used to make this card. This stamp, excuse me, it's not a stamp, this die is part of the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle, and it's on page 13 of the new catalog. And here it is right here. This is the stamp, and then let me show you the dies that come with it. I am planning on doing some videos with using the stamp, but I just wanted to show you a card that I made with just the dies. And this is the dies, and you can see the large die will cut this out. There's a leaf, a couple leaves here, and this smaller die stamped image as well. And it's got some really nice sentiments to it. But for our purposes today, we're just going to use the die. Now I want to show you where I got the inspiration for this card of mine. I got this inspiration from this card here. Now, as you can see, it looks very different. And that's part of the beauty of looking at something and liking it and thinking, wow, I want to make that, and then putting your own twist on it. It's pretty much the same, where it has the patterned paper in the background, as do I, and it has just the die cut elements, as do I, and then it has a little tag. This one has the sunflower on a tag with the sentiment down there, and I have mine on a tag. My tag is up here with the sentiment and the bow right there, and they even have the linen thread there. So you can see when you look at a card, if it's beautiful and you want to replicate it, in every aspect, that's fine too. But sometimes you look at a card and you like the way it looks, and as you get started making it, it takes on a life of its own. So that is where I got the inspiration for this card. Now let me tell you I'm going to put these aside. Let me tell you what I used for supplies. I have soft suede, which is my card base, and this is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, which is a basic A2 card. Then I have a piece of crumb cake, which is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and that's going to be my layer, my matting layer. And then I have a piece of this DSP, and it is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And that DSP is part of the In Good Taste paper pack that is also in the new catalog. And you can see it's beautifully textured. It has some realistic looking woods and bricks. I love this one. It's like a tile and more wood. And then here we have like a tin tile. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Some looks like a rug. It's just beautiful. See, I like the fact that they threw it pink, and this is kind of like a stucco. It's just absolutely beautiful. And you can use this for making masculine cards, which is always something good, because I have a difficult time making masculine cards. Then after that, I also have a piece of Whisper White, which is also cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and that's just for the inside of my card. And everything else is just cut with scraps. So let me show you. I'm going to just lay these out for you, and then I'm going to go cut. So I have a piece of crushed curry, which is the top layer of my flower. That's this one here. and I'm going to die cut that. Then I have a piece of the new bumblebee, and from that I'm going to cut my outline of my flower. Then I have a piece of old olive, and from the old olive I'm going to cut 3 of the outer layers of the leaf. From the scooch this over, I have garden green, and from there I'm going to cut 3 of the detailed leaves. And then I have just a scrap of soft suede, and I'm going to cut the inside of the leaf. I'm also using, if you guys follow me, you know that I absolutely love the framelits, these rectangular framelits. And these are all the framelits that come in this kit, and there's a size for everything. I'm going to use the 2nd and 3rd smallest framelits, and I am going to cut the larger one. I'm going to cut it from the center of my matting piece. That's going to save me some paper. And I forgot to get a piece of scrap white. I'm going to cut this one here, the smallest one, from my Whisper White. So I'm going to go over to the die cutting machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with all of my cut pieces, and now it's time to assemble. Now I did do 2 of the leaves off camera just to save some time here, but I'm going to show you how I did these. So these are the leaves, and they assemble like this. And I think that the shaded spruce, no, excuse me, garden green, is it garden green? Yes, the garden green over the old olive is just a beautiful, beautiful contrast. So what I'm going to do, I have my bottom layer face up. Then I'm going to turn my top layer over. And with a glue pen, I'm going to put some glue strategically, just so that it stays together and doesn't fall apart or get too snagged when you are putting it in and out of its envelope. Now these intricate dies like this, these layering dies, they are beautiful, and they're great when you layer them like this to make some nice dimension. But you do need to be careful when you're putting them in and out of your envelope. So there are my 3 leaves. I'm going to put those aside. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my sunflower. But you can see the sunflower is very specific how it has to go. So you do have to try to line up the flower. And I'll give you a tip. See these 3 here? 1, 2, 3. They're very distinct and going off to the right, as is the background. There's 1, 2, 3. So if you can line those up like that, you're golden. Okay? So I'm going to lay it down and then just flip it over. And I'm going to apply some adhesive to the center of this. Now I do want to leave dimension along the leaves of the flower so that they do kind of lift, but I want to be careful not to put too much glue on this where the large punched out flowers are, because you don't want that seeping through on your project. So now I'm just going to take it and layer it over again, finding those 3 very distinct leaves, and I'm going to press in the middle of it. Okay, now the last part is my center, which was cut out of the soft suede, and that has tiny dots in it, but the adhesive really won't come through on that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of snail on that and drop that right into the center. And now my sunflower is all assembled. And now I'm just going to assemble my card. And I will point out that I did use the silicone pad underneath my sunflower and my leaves as I assembled them, simply because this silicone pad is truly worth the investment. If you get glue on it, like adhesive on it, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, it's a little shiny, but all you have to do is with your finger, just rub it off and nothing sticks to it. It's a good way of not getting adhesive all over your workstation. I've done that plenty of times. So anyway, let's get back to putting our card together. Here is my crumb cake matting piece, and you'll notice that I cut out a piece this here. No one is going to see that, so why not? Why waste my paper, right? I could have actually cut another one for a different card, use it on a different card, but I didn't. So now I'm just going to attach this to my card, and I'm going to bring in my silicone pad here again because this side here is thinner than my card. And I have a very thin layer, and I'm just going to drop that in there. And now I'm going to attach my DSP on top of that. And look at the back of this DSP. Isn't that great? Just looks like a Berber rug. So I'm going to drop that in there like that. Again, a very small border. And now my card is put together. My base of my card is put together. I want to now assemble my card with my flower. And I'm going to dry fit everything before I attach. So what I want is one leaf up there and 2 leaves down here. Okay. Now I'm going to leave that the way it is, and I'm going to use snail on my leaves. I did buy the new snail or new adhesive. I don't know what it's called. It's not called snail, but I haven't taken it out to play with it yet. So in the meantime, I will continue to use my snail. And now I'm going to drop this one down here. And this one I'm going to overlap just a tad. Okay. Now I need to attach my sunflower, and I want my sunflower to be raised a little bit. So I'm going to bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I think 3 will probably do it. 1, 2, and 3. And just attach that right there. And that looks, and you can see the shadow here from the way the lights are hitting my project. The shadow shows the beautiful sunflower is lifted, so it really does look 3-dimensional. Now the last thing we need to do is add our sentiment. So I have this piece of Whisper White that I've cut out with a rectangular die, and using some Garden Green ink, I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday on this. And I'm using the Happy Birthday comes from the Ever So Versatile Itty Bitty Greeting stamp. And you get so many stamps. There's 32. And they're small enough just for these little tiny tags. And they have something for almost every occasion out there. So again, I'm going to stamp this, ink this up in Garden Green. And then I'm going to just bring this down to close to the bottom of my tag. Straight down, straight up. Now I'm going to attach it to my crumb cake piece. Now obviously the tag is a lot bigger than what I need. So I'm going to do a little trimming. I'm going to first decide where I want my tag. And I think this is fine for me. So I'm going to decide, see how I have here, I could have it come all the way up to the top of the card, the soft suede, and you get a little more contrast, or I could have it come right up to the crumb cake and it looks like it blends, or I can even have it come to the Designer Series paper and then I have a complete border around it. I think with this one, I'm going to come right up to the top, just to give it a little different look, and I'm going to make a little mark. Then I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. I'm going to line up my little mark, and I'm going to snip it. That way I get a nice crisp line there. I'm going to attach some snail. And again, I'm going to bring it right up to the top. And at this point, if I change my mind, I can just drop it down to wherever I want it to be. But I'm going to keep it right there. And then I'm going to just erase that tiny little mark I have there. And that's how we make that beautiful tag. Now I just need a bow. I didn't pre-cut one now, so this one here I used the linen thread. Let me just pop that off and I'll use this one. Okay, so for this one here, after you make your bow, you can either apply it with a little bit of glue from your glue pen. And the beauty of that glue pen is that it dries clear, and then just drop it in and hold it down. And there we go. Or what I did for the other one here was I took a little mini glue dot, and of course the glue dot's bigger. I put the glue dot, let me show you. Here's the glue dot, and I put it on my finger like this, and then I just rolled it. And see how tiny it comes? And then I could put that right where the knot is and plop it down, and you would never see it. So that is the outside of our card. And then I have the inside, which is Whisper White, and I'm using this as a birthday card. I will find a appropriate birthday greeting, and then I will drop that in there as well. So there is our card. One says happy birthday, and one says with gratitude. And I hope you can see that. I'm having a problem with my iPad. It's not cooperating the way it used to. So there's the project. And again, it was all made with die cuts. So other than the sentiment. So if you have any questions about this project or any of the products that I use, please contact me through my blog, which is www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and I'll be back later with another video.